Welcome to my humble little office. I'm literally just puttering around the office right now, making certain I get things going. Making certain that I can get my office working properly. But if you drop in, drop me a line, say hi. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. That's the easy part. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I'll answer pretty much like most questions I'll answer. I will answer them honestly. And if I'm not going to answer them, I'm going to tell you I'm not going to answer them. Yeah. Oh, look at that. What do we got? Oh, Susan Ahern, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. Let's pin that to the top. I really don't have a format here. I really don't have a format set at all. I gotta ask, Susan. I guess I technically don't have to. But I take it you're either back east or somewhere else altogether, because it's 3:30 here, coming on 4 o'clock. Now, oh, where did I put my pen? I did manage to get my office straightened out. So now it's just a question of making certain that I get everything in the right order. Oh, there we are. Well, thank you, and thank you very much for that. I'm actually trying to get an idea on just how much coverage we've got. Where is that there? Because I figure it's an interesting concept from my end. Figure out where people are from. Figure out just exactly what kind of reach I've got. Now, I came to the conclusion that the only way that I'm going to make things work here is the only way I'm going to make things actually work is to turn around and go, this is what I'm doing, and this is what's working for me. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. However, I did manage to get my number one, my office, or not my office, my living room is absolutely decluttered. Everything in the office belongs there now. And with that in mind, now it's a question of clearing out the rest of the stuff in the office here, because, and I am putting this all in paper. I am actually writing short little booklets. One of which is the chakras of the home or of the business. Let me see. What have we got? Got that there. What have we got? Or do we? Oh, okay. They moved that. That's even better. Because I'm sort of sitting here going, how do I make this all work? I have I've got the office worked out. And yes, this is why I'm getting things turned around. Is I got way too much stuff here that I don't really require. Now, wonder if that's got to be an IV. I am looking for. Nope, not that. See, when I said it's a day in the office, this is the way my day goes. I was up front all day today, sorting things out. And making certain. Oh, that's always nice. And I'm about to have one heck of a mess here. This is literally why I'm having to go through it. Pulled all the files off. Pulled all the files out of the drawer so I could go through them. Figure out what I was working with. And then start putting them together. But I will tell you, you get too much stuff and it becomes a bit of a problem. One of the neat little things I did discover was the more focused I get on what I'm actually building. Operation, how you doing? Oh, thanks so much, sir. And I was talking to Dave Scott this morning about my appearance at the Caribou Con. So I figured out what I'm going to be talking about there. And by doing that, I can actually get things organized now so that I don't have as big a problem at the end of the year. Well, 3/4 of the way through the year. Now, all of these files have to be sorted out and pared down. Because if I don't, then I've got a continual fiasco. Now, the reality is, like, where it comes to the alien side of things, that is one of those neat little areas. Where are we here? Oh, absolutely. And the trick there, Susan, is literally, and I didn't bring it with me, of course not. Literally, where you're sitting right now, you've got an idea of what you're aiming for. Like you said, you've got ideas. The only thing you have to figure out is take a look where you're sitting right this moment. Okay, look at the office, look at the place you're sitting in. Depending on what you're aiming for, okay, if we're looking at getting your overall brain working properly so you can get everything done, where you're sitting right this moment, write down one thing that you're not content with. Okay. Now, I do mean literally anything. Maybe it's something as simple as you don't like where your coffee cup sits. Okay. You write down something. Make sure if it's a bigger issue, make certain that you break it down into tasks that only take 15 minutes to half an hour. And I'll walk you through that because it's literally what I'm in the process of doing. Now, these are all discombobulated, so that gives me a really good place to start sorting things. What I got here. Now, you see this whole stack of files I'm bringing over. Okay, some of them are from the Olderbachchen Chronicles, but you take a look at what you've got and what you're working with. Look where you are right this moment. Write down and let's not have that go. Write down 3 things that you're not content with. Okay, now, where's my pen? There we are. I didn't bring that, so that's okay. I'll work this way. I usually have a clipboard I work with, but since I don't, piece of paper. Now, you just saw me load up a whole stack of files here. Okay. Oh, Operation, that's an excellent idea. And let me just mark that down. Wonder if I've got that there. Yeah, the idea of discussing life after death, what goes on, how does that work, is actually a really good topic. Let me just see if I've got the file open. There we are. A bonus. Now that will be on spirituality. So since we've already booked Sunday, which is a spirituality thing, we go to the following Sunday, and as per requested, when I get an idea, when I get a topic down, for the most part, I'm simply putting it in line. So, Sunday, we are going to look at life after death, which is a whole lot different than near-death experiences. Okay, that, just for your edification, is now scheduled for January the 18th. Okay, That'll be on Positive Perceptions. On here, I literally don't schedule anything because I just don't see the point to it. I tend to be a little scattered on occasion, but that's the way my office actually runs. Yeah, now, like I was saying, Susan, you write down whatever you're not content with. In my case right now, my office is set up properly, so I'm quite content there. But maybe, just maybe, it's something that has to be altered. Now I will tell you, sometimes you don't bother writing. Like I got a coffee cup, I forgot about it, so I'm just gonna put it up over here. Not going far, not leaving the room. But that has to go the way of the dodo bird. So it will when I get done the show. And yeah, I know I started a little early. Okay, so yeah, when you get the three things written down, maybe they're big. Like for instance, my office desk itself, when I first started looking at it, I turned around and went, okay, I can break it into 5 sections. Okay, my monitor desk, where I'm going to have another monitor, my computer desk itself, the desk section that the calendar usually sits on. Speaking of which, let's get that here so we can pop it where it belongs. Put that down there. And then I've got a shelf and a table here. Yeah, and I list when I first started sorting them out, I listed them off together. That way I could clear one and get it out of the way, check it off, and now I've got something accomplished that is quantifiable. And that's the kicker with trying to get things started. Okay, what do we got here? That I've got to look into, but so that's where you start. Once you've got 3 down, stop there, or you end up doing what I do. And you end up getting 15 different topics, 15 different tasks written down, and you get overwhelmed by the tasks. Now, that's one of those tasks that I've got to go through. This is my Walmart. I've made so many obligations for myself, and I've talked about them. This is why I've stopped going, oh, I'll have this done at this date. Okay, because now what I've got to do is correct things. But today's been going really well. Gone up front today. Finally got the Christmas tree pulled down. It was supposed to come down 2 days ago, but it's now down. And here's the neat thing. Now, Christmas is 12 months away. But I picked these up because, frankly, they were on for less than half price. Because this coming year, now, there are 30 cards in this. Okay? All of them identical. But the kicker to it is the reason I got them was because they're going to absolute strangers. But what I'm doing is I've got a blessing, a very old blessing. I've got a very old blessing I'm going to be utilizing with the cards. Okay. And that is literally, all I'm going to say for the Christmas cards is literally, Merry Christmas. May you always reap what you sow. Farewell. But farewell will be written in two words. It's an old blessing come curse. Because I don't know if these people are nice or not. Okay. So what I'm doing is I put a blessing together that literally, if you're a decent person, it helps. It gives you all the prosperity you can get. If you're a pain in the neck problem child, then it backfires on you and you get what you deserve. At least in my opinion. Now, of course, with this, these have 30 cards. I'm just opening them to see what they actually look like. I'm only putting out 12 this year. Well, look at that. It's not just one man, one. I thought, by the look of this, it was just one type of card. It's not. But I am using 30 of them. I don't know how many there are. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They've got 10 different pictures, and presumably with 10 different things. What is this? This is literally what I do. I putter around. I go, this is what I'm aiming for. Yeah, 10 different pictures, 10 different sayings. But all I'm doing this year, and I strongly encourage people to do this, by the way, or I wouldn't be talking about it. What we got? Oh, Rachel, how we doing? Glad you could join us. I do encourage people to do this because what I'm doing is I'll take 12 of these cards this year, which means I've got enough cards here for, well, frankly, 3 years, maybe 4. But all I'll be doing is taking the card, writing in it, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. May you always reap what you sow. Farewell. And it will simply be signed Inner Voice Enterprises, R. Keith Andrews. That's it. I'm not sending a business card. I'm not sending extra paraphernalia, but I am putting a $10 bill in them. Okay, that's my idea of charity. Okay. Mike, how we doing? Glad you could join us. And just for your guys' edification, we currently have 4 in the room, but we've already got 8 thumbs up. This is fantastic in my eyes. So this is something I'm working on. I've already set it in motion. I'll get those set out probably today. Yeah, Rachel, in all fairness, it's going really well. I've been with my wife now. Well, we only just got married in August, but we've been together for almost 5.5 years now. Now, here's a challenge for you, Susan, if you're still with us. Here's a challenge. Starting today, pick one of the ideas you had, and let's get started moving it and making it happen. Because what I am quite willing to do while we're in the office here is I'm quite willing to work as a motivator for people. Okay. I finally figured out how to motivate me, and that was kind of important. This. Thank you. Brainstorms. Jumping. Jimmy. Oh, beat. Bang. Oh. I do not have bank for me. Well, that's annoying. But that's why I got. Oh, wait a minute. There's TV. There we go. This file can go in there. That way, I know where it is. At least that would be the theory. What do we got here? But yeah, here's a challenge for you, Susan, and for all of you out there. If you have a goal that you would like to attain, okay, I've already got all kinds of goals listed that I desire. Not the least of which is the removal of clutter from my home. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this. Now, I've got a lot of files to do with the Ilderbachkian Chronicles. So I do need to set those aside so I can find them and keep on top of them. We have noise outside. How about if I don't turn my back on you guys altogether? What do you think? Okay. Oh, there he is. Really? I lost any. Oh, I have to get that out. That's why I put it there. This should be, it is. Okay, here is the real backbone of what I'm working on. This little duotang here. Okay, this is my corporate superstructure. Let's take this. Tell you, if I were any less organized, I'd be dangerous. There. That solved that problem. Now, you pick one goal. Okay. In my case, the one goal right now is to get these files all moved away because I can't go to bed until I do. Just pick. It doesn't matter which of the goals you have. Now, I encouraged people last year to put a list of 12 things to get accomplished by the end of this year. Now, let's see. Oh, I've got all those open. I don't need extra ones. So, I encourage you to pick one of these ideas you've got. Let's make it a reality and see where it goes. No guarantee it's going to work out, but we will deal with as much of it as possible. Okay. And again, guys, this is one of these situations where all the best wishes in the world are absolutely useless if, well, I did not do that. They are absolutely useless if you do not turn around and actually get off your tail feathers and make it happen. You know, that's just the reality behind it. So right now, I've got two major things. So let me see here. Damn, I just put my pen down. There it is. Okay, so we go files to cabinet. Now, these all have to end up sorted around. But I also have to have my corporate superstructure. So the corporate superstructure laid out. Understand, unless something really odd happens, I won't be running and I won't be opening a corporation. I just like the superstructure so that I can make it happen. This is why I have a board of advisors, not a board of directors. I don't need somebody telling me what is going to work. So far, everybody that's done that, especially the companies that claim they do it, have absolutely done me no good, which is why I won't tell you who they are. So we need the corporate superstructure, and we also need the Ilderbach files. So we will deal with those. And that's not surprising. You know, I look at the numbers here, and it's really, you know, I used to worry a lot about numbers. At this point, I look at it going, if anybody's here, it's a bonus. But what I'm looking at right now, that's R and Q. Because what this is I literally am poking my, I'm literally just getting things organized. And by doing that, I will be able to get on track. At least that would be the theory. Now, Ilderbach. this file here. Some of these are getting just tossed right off the bat. Nathan, how we doing? Glad you could join us. I trust things are going well on your end. I'm literally just going through files right now. Whoop. Oh, okay. This is information that I do require, but I likely have a whole pile of odds and ends, just little crib notes that create their own problem. You know, Nathan, ever since you pointed out the issue, and you can't see it with my head here, but ever since you pointed out the issue that I've got a robot behind me, where is it now? There we are. I don't have my eyeballs on. I can't see it. Yeah. Yo, when you pointed out this neat little set of drawers that looked like a robot, once you pointed that out, I've never been able to look at it the same way twice. The same way since. I have here, none of that matters. We have patron at Casey's. I gotta find out who this guy is. 11,197, and Layla, who is in 11,198. All I'm doing here is taking a look at the different I talked to Dave this morning. I know what topic we're dealing with. Where did I put it? Take a look at that and see what we got. To talk to Dave, I just don't want to put my foot in my mouth. There we are. At the conference, at the conference, I will be talking about ET contact. Okay. And unfortunately, I don't remember when the conference is. I know it's in September. It's the Caribou Con. Oh, yeah. Well, I've got that huge white fan there because I overheat at night, and that keeps my temperature lower. Oh, perfect. The question was, any new information from the extraterrestrials during your last visit? Well, they were, number one, they were very unhappy that I tried bailing out of here again, apparently. But I was tasked with a very specific thing. Help these people understand they're not here to invade, to take over. They're not here to wipe people out. They are simply striving to get around. They're simply striving to understand where humans are standing. Now, that prompted me starting to write the crib notes for a 3-part article that will be showing up in Positive Perspectives in the magazine. But I'm also going to use it as the backbone to discuss ET contact and just exactly what it's all about. Okay, that will get altered as I go along. The article won't be altered. It's being written. Matter of fact, I've already written 2 out of 3 parts to it. 2 out of 4, I think. What do we got? Honey blonde female. But it literally boils down to helping people understand that even the bigwigs, even the mainstream names that many of you know, and frankly, I'm not about to tell you who I'm referring to. Many of you guys know who they are. I'm not giving you names, but I will tell you a staggering number of them are pointing people down the wrong direction. We are not in any danger of invasion, at least not from off-world. And that is the message that I've been tasked with putting forth. Yeah, where are we? Yeah, I think that's that for that page. Yep. This way I know it's garbage for when I'm done the stream. Cannot read that. I've got to get a bigger monitor. I tell you, that's on my shopping list. Philip, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, I mean, we hit -10 here. I mean, we're up in Canada, of course, and we deal in Celsius. But -10 boils down to in the mid-20s-ish, around that point. Maybe a little colder than that. Not at all, Nathan. Oh, okay, that's not a problem. And again, I have no problem with you re-asking just to make certain. Now, you asked if there's any new information. Now that's what you've written here. I'm not sure about what you wrote last time, because in all fairness, I don't track what's being written there. But the information, it's a very imperative because of the state this world is in right now. They are asking me to literally do my best to help people understand we are not in danger of any sort of an invasion or interference, or for that matter, aid. Okay, from off-world. So it literally boils down to when I tell people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. This includes the off-worlders. That's just the reality behind that. What do we got here? I think this is all garbage. Yep. Like I said, I am. But the fact of the matter is that they're watching what's going on, because with the way this world is right now, we're in serious trouble. Like, humans are in serious trouble. Because mankind right now is on the verge of absolutely tearing its world apart. I have no idea what number that is, but I know what it is. But it's not of much use to me. Not right now. This is what I meant by I had to go through files. But the reality is that I'm actually taking this office and turning it into I think you'd like the term there, Nathan. I'm turning this into my command center, if you will. Where are we here? I do not require. Oh, no, don't require any of that. This stuff is just going to end up going to garbage. Not a problem there, Nathan. Sometimes, unfortunately, I get too many things on the go, especially with the number of questions coming in. With number of questions coming in. And it's hard to gauge whether Dave's looking for an involved answer or not. And this is one of the things. When I was out at a conference way back in 2012, I think. Where I ended up talking to a gentleman. He had questions, but because we were at a conference and I don't tend to sleep a lot, we ended up having a conversation into the wee hours of the morning about something that was bothering him. What have we got here? Okay, don't want to have to very much do that for the moment. Oh, that's something to be added to my health file. I've got recipes, like herbal recipes, designed for all sorts of things. Not the least of which is to strive to put my health back on track. Now, one of the biggest tricks with an office is to make certain you know what your goal is. In my case, it's a question of making certain that I have access to what I'm looking at. And what do we got here? Well, that was the layout. I don't require that anymore. So that goes over there. One of the things with getting anything done is to make certain that you get an idea written down that you are working on. Because I will tell you, so many people tell me, just sit back and pray. And let me be clear on something here. Whether you believe in God or something else, it doesn't matter. Okay, call it whatever name you'd like. The reality is, all the prayers in the world, if you don't actually get off your tail feathers, aren't going to work out and don't work out well. Okay, what do we got? I do believe, yep, that's all part of the other boxing conference. You see, I've got files and files of these things, but because I let my own issues taint what I was doing, okay, I ended up stonewalling myself where it came to writing. And now it's a question of get on track and make sure it happens. What is this? Lord knows. Yep. As you can see, I got all kinds. In case you're wondering, I have the same problem with the races of the world. That goes there. A lot of these will end up getting files where I don't have to, where I simply have the crib notes to say this is really where it is, where it came from. Don't know. Oh, okay. A lot of these are just crib notes. This one on the outline we got. See, the neat part here is these are all notes that are just being sorted out. When you've got an idea in your head, making crib notes is great, but I'm going to warn you of something. If you're going to make crib notes, make sure you date and identify what the note is for. Falls under the same category as that neat little idea of having tying a string around your finger to help you remember something. You tie the string around it and then you forget what you tied it there for. So what I'm looking at here is just trying to get everything organized. And then it's just a question, in this case, of stacking them together. And that way I know that I can sort them out. But when it comes to a new project, like for instance, I mentioned yesterday, I'm working on a booklet called Meet the Reticulans. Now, I've got it started. I think I've got 10 different species done on that. Okay, sorry, 10 different races. I've also got a booklet coming out called, and yes, by the way, the reality of that is I'm tired of giving people starting dates, but, or publishing dates, but priority two is Races of the World, second edition. But I will tell you, Races of the World, second edition, the first edition. Hey, whoa, how we doing? Glad you could join us. Thus far, today's been really, really hectic, but I've gotten a lot accomplished. This is a phenomenal little character, and I think this one has. A list of the gods that I had used. Again, don't take that the wrong way, guys. I'm talking about D&D, as in playing the game. What are these? I am looking literally to see if I actually have a list of the different gods, because that's the way the campaign went. But this is an old character I didn't throw out for just that reason. What is that? Bingo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is handy. This neat little booklet. Okay. This is the character, Shadowhammer. Okay, I played him for a while. He went from a first level character in D&D all the way to the god of magic. But what it did is, in this book, I've got the list of gods that I'm using for the Elderbachian Chronicles. Because, I mean, let's face it, you kind of have to have that sort of thing sorted around. Hey, bonus! I've even got the original map that I drew up. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is a hand-drawn map, obviously, that I drew up way back in grade 10 to lay out the Elderbachian Chronicles, the main planet of the Elderbachian Chronicles. Now what I can do, because I found this one, I can turn around and talk to one of my advisors. Hey, Deshaun, how are you? I'm actually doing well. I've gotten a lot accomplished today. I can talk to one of my advisors that's got a phenomenal spatial memory, if you will, where I can find out. I know where the tower was built. This will tell me where it's located because of continental drift. Now, all of this on these files I've been going through, I'm just stacking them back here because they're Elderbachian Chronicle stuff. But it's got to be organized a little better. Nothing like a staggering amount of information that is a little too scattered for its own good. Yeah, one of the neat things that I run into, and again, guys, if you've got a question, because my monitor is small, if you've got a question, definitely pop it in all caps so I can find it. That way, I will do my best to give you an answer. What's that? Oh. Didn't realize how much information I actually have here. I bet I'm going to run into the same problem. Now here's a cute thought, guys. I ended up signing a lot of contracts. A lot of contracts with different internet companies that said they would help me with visibility. Oh, what I'm doing right now, Deshaun, is I've got a whole stack of files from my company, Inner Voice Enterprises. Okay, but they were all stacked on a shelf. So what I'm doing is going through them, looking for the files that pertain to the company, separating them from the ones that pertain to my novel series. Okay, so that I know exactly where they're coming from. While I'm doing that, I'm also looking for the files that are directly pertaining to various different races. I've already got the office desk cleared out, so I'm working with a clear head, understanding that the office, wherever you work on your finances or on your organization, okay, that the brainchild, the brain of any home or any business is the office. So for me, it was a question: get that straightened out first. Okay, I've got my file for corporate superstructure that lays out who I've got in a position of power. Well, I'll use the term power a little loosely. Okay, I've got a list of the people in my advisory council, because I'm not getting a board of directors. Nobody's getting the opportunity of firing me from my own company. Okay, but by doing that, I have to. This is why I call a day in the office, because I don't necessarily sit still. What is this? S T U V W X Y. Okay, again, this really boils down to just getting it organized. And the more organized I get, and it applies to everybody, the more organized you get, the better, the more efficient you will become. And the quicker that whatever you're working on can come into existence. This is why I say the tools I offer are literally the same ones I personally use. Okay. One of the biggest things that you've got to keep in mind when you're straightening things out is that get the idea there. When I talk about a list, I mean literally, this is what I've got to do. My office right now has paperwork on and what have you, but before I finish today, when I get done the screen, I will clear my office desk off, put everything back where it belongs, get garbage tossed out, whatever it takes from that. But that's literally what I'm working on right now. Now, those are all Ilderbachian. These are some interesting pieces of information for Inner Voice Enterprises. Not the least of which is, what was that I've done? This particular thing. Oh, ain't that cute? Let me ask you guys, since you're in my office anyway, I've got a basic course outline here on paranormal development. Okay. In your guys' opinion, is this something I should actually develop and put on the market? Okay, it is a very basic line in order to get people. Now, I wrote this 16 years ago, so I've got to go through it and update it. But I did at the time. I used to teach paranormal development. Okay. Now, I am curious whether or not, in your guys' eyes, it may well be worth looking into and developing it further. What is that? This is definitely a file on. See, I developed a course to teach people how to literally read tarot, how to figure out how to do it. I've got a lot of these things on the go that are in my back books. Okay. And I'm just trying to figure out where exactly, not where my interest is, but where people's interest is, where things are, where there are gaps in education, in availability. So many people price their stuff so far out of range that nobody can afford it. And then you find out they don't feature much anyway, which annoys the heck out of me. What is this? Oh, this is research, which is definitely necessary, but it's not technically, it's different programs I was working on or different research projects. But in your guys' eyes, would it be advisable or functional to actually put a course together for paranormal development, i.e., how do you grow your own psychic ability? You know, and can anybody do it? Well, the short answer to that is everybody is born that way. You just mostly are taught to forget it. See, now, this neat little piece of paper here. And, oh, wild. Different ships and what have you that just have to be added to the books. And throw artwork. Pop that in there. Like I said, it was a question of finding out what these files were. What is that? Now, then I get this. Okay, this one in particular is a bunch of pictures that a guy sent me when I was looking for an artist. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to show them to you, but I will tell you, I'm not hanging on to them. You know, I did get them from him, but they are not of a quality that I'm interested in promoting. Not for my books. I'm not telling people, I am no artist to speak of. I'm really not. But I've got a bunch of stuff here that I just do not require. And it's cluttering up my house to the point of being problematic. So, considering some of these files are as old as they are, I am simply going to be disposing of them. Let's see if we got any. Now, again, I'm a firm believer that recycling is really useful. So I got a stack of paper over here that literally is only written on one side. And now what I do is I take this and I go, okay, let's see what we got. But the reality of it is this all points in the same direction. Okay, and that is attaining the goals that I've set out for myself. Okay, because, I can pray all I'd like. I can talk about anything I'd like. You know the old idea of wishful thinking? Well, this is the reality behind wishful thinking. Okay, by looking at wishful thinking, you can hope for things, you can pray that they're going to happen, wait for somebody else to make up their mind, or you can do what I'm doing. Go, I'm no longer content with this, so I'm changing. Now, this information I'm working with here is literally stuff I'm not going to be using. Okay. Because I cannot see the point in hanging on to it anymore. It's been cluttering my house for years and never gone anywhere. So I figure, what the heck? I might just as well get this cleared up. Now, I'm in the office, and the nice part about it is this actually makes certain that I take the time out to deal with this. Procrastination has seldom done anything of any value. Unless, of course, you're trying to put things off. But I will tell you, everything I've seen happen, you procrastinate, and then you sit there, well, I wish I had done this. I'm done with the wishing. Okay, I will be, especially where the magazine is concerned, I will be looking down the road at at freelance writers, freelance contributors. But understand the magazine is free. Okay, so it does create an interesting situation where I can't really say, oh, I'll be paying anybody extra money. I used to teach Frankie, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I used to teach paranormal development in Kelowna here where I live. Okay. However, I figured out how to develop it online. I just haven't figured out how technology works well enough to function with it yet. But the way I figure it, I'm not listed, if you will, as a teacher from the standpoint of I've never gone to school to learn how to do it. Okay. I simply pass on what I know works. Okay. I figured out how to deal with the heck? Oh, gonna have to go back through those, it would seem. In any event, I taught in Kelowna here. I taught face to face. If I can figure out how technology works to do it online, I will certainly do that. But I gotta get it written out first. Like I've got to get it updated to today's world. Intriguing. Much of this that I'm looking at, I taught paranormal, I taught meditation, I cannot say I taught Reiki. Well, I can say it, I just did. I was never trained as a Reiki master. But the Reiki masters I dealt with used to say that I ended up healing faster than they did. So I do teach accelerated healing for people. Okay, teach you how to recognize it and work with it. But understand, the only thing I can guarantee is I won't lie to you to make you feel better. I will simply pass on what I have dealt with and what I know works. Okay, and has worked for me. You get to figure out the rest of it. Now, turns out some of these, I won't be using them, but notice some of them have some interesting information. So we grab those, put them over here to go through afterwards because we're going to have to concentrate on them. Where are we here? Wow. Oh, okay, you removed that. I cannot read that if you delete it there, Woo. I appreciate that, Nathan. The fact of the matter is that when we're looking at this, not everybody can pay attention to it. In all fairness, I sometimes get lost. But I figured when I said I was coming on at 4, sometimes obviously I'm going to come on a little earlier. But the reason for saying 4 is so I know that at 5 o'clock I pull the plug. And I know at one point we had 13 people in the room at the same time. I do not know offhand how many followers we've got, how many subscribers. Here we are. I've heard Reiki masters can steal energy from the person they are working on. That is unfortunately a very real possibility. They're what are called psychic vampires. And they absolutely can take people's energy. There's no question this is a negative use of the energy. Okay, it's a negative karmic maneuver. And the reality is, as one particular psychic that I was working with one day years ago, I felt something odd, and I looked at her and I went, "What do you think you're doing?" "Well, you've got excess energy, so I was just taking some of it." Well, 4 hours later, she woke up. She missed the entire fair. And she looks at me and she goes, "What happened?" I said, "Next time you want to steal energy from somebody, you might want to make sure they don't control it." You know, the reality of it is, I didn't take kindly to it, but it is very possible to steal somebody else's energy. Okay, it's also very karmically wrong. Yeah. That's just something we have to realize. Okay. It's something that, is it doable? Certainly. Do not utilize it. The only time I can, from a karmic standpoint, justify taking somebody's energy that's the easy part. Woo. In your mind's eye, Will Rider is asking simply, how can somebody protect themselves from somebody else stealing your energy? That's the easy part. Now, you can call this your imagination if you'd like. Okay. But you literally, in your mind's eye, visualize yourself surrounded by a bubble of white light. Okay. That bubble surrounds you completely. I'm sure you've heard of this. Okay. Yeah, it would, Nathan. If Nathan's just saying he had somebody steal his and just wiped him out. But you surround yourself with a bubble of white light. Okay. Now, call it your imagination, doesn't matter. Okay. It's kind of like calling gravity French fries. It's still going to have the same impact. Get the image, surround yourself with a bubble of white light. That will protect you from the negative energy going on around you, just because you happen to be alive. Okay. Surround that bubble with mirrors facing facing away from you, all the way around a 360-degree bubble. Okay. Kind of like, if you will, a reflective Christmas decoration. That will reflect back the negative energy people are reaching out with. In other words, if a vampire goes to hit you, and I'm talking about a psychic vampire, not a Singina. Where are we? Okay. I will answer that question in just 10 seconds. Or, who are we? Me. You surround yourself with the bubble of white light. That will reflect the negative energy back to the people sending it. This includes people trying to steal your energy. Then you run real thick, healthy roots right from the soles of your feet straight to the core of the earth. Okay, in my case, I run them all the way from my knees. Okay, but this bleeds off the negative energy that you personally generate. Things like self-doubt, self-recrimination. Okay, that is the easiest method of protecting yourself that I've come across. Now, the answer to your question is literally, I do offer consultancy. I charge $20 for 15 minutes. Okay, and that said, okay, if you go to the link at the top of the stream there where it says buy me a coffee, you'll find the link to set all that up. Okay, now, when we get on the phone, I'll tell you, this is why we'll agree how much time you're looking at. At that point, like, let's say you say, I want half an hour. Okay, and we get to the end of the half hour. If I decide to carry it further, so be it. Okay. If I decide I'm going to carry the consultancy an extra 15, 20 minutes, I do not charge extra for it. Okay, it's just that simple, because I'm the one that made the choice. Okay, this said, when we set up an appointment, if I miss the appointment by more than 15 minutes, not only do we reset and do we work out a time to reschedule, but I will add 15 minutes free to your account. Okay. For though if you miss it by more than 15 minutes, we'll probably have to rebook. But it won't do anything to you. It won't take up any of your funding. And to be clear, I've been doing psychic consulting for almost 53 years now. I started professional for, 86. So professional as in generating an income, I've been doing it for 35 years. Okay. To the tune of in excess of 100,000 clients under my belt. And yes, I've consulted via email, via snail mail, via video, face to face, as in at a conference, this sort of thing. The whole 9 yards. You name the field, I've probably done it. Worked on a psychic line for 20 years. Just shy of 20 years. Where am I here? Oh, by George, that's the other set. I love when I get sidetracked like that. I was wondering what I did with those. So that set will have to go up there. But yeah, where it comes to consulting, you just have to understand, I'm going to give you an honest answer. I will not guarantee you like the answer, but I will tell you, every single individual I've ever met, okay, is born with psychic ability. Okay, everybody has the capacity to do exactly what I'm doing. Now, granted, in the UFO world, I've got a little bit of a different take on things. Okay. What is this? I mean, that's gotta be ugly. Sure, can't wait. Elderbach row, and this is the odds and ends I've been working on. So that's that there. And pop this one over here. Oh, take it. Looks like they do it. But yeah, I absolutely. What we got? No, I don't know where that is. Maybe on that. Okay. Now what do we got here? Will's going, can you tell us more about your time working for a psychic line? That's the easy part. I sat there. I used to work for the company, and I worked for it for 20 years until they closed the doors. But I literally would sit there, and we had 3 types of callers. We had people that called in. They were just what we called, and they were your rolling callers. Somebody called in, they had nobody specific to talk to, so you get the next psychic available. Okay. Then we had people that were qualified as requests, meaning when they called in, they could say, I want this specific psychic. In my case, a good 80% of my calls were requests. Okay, and then you had the other one, which was a callback, meaning the call went for however long it was supposed to, and then they turned around and they called back to get more information. This was quite normal, but between requests and callbacks, I used to pull 80% of my calls were that way. Now, in this case, I will tell you who I used to work for. I used to work for, and we're talking almost 30 years ago now. I worked for Heavenly Rays Psychic Line. I worked for Heavenly Psychic Answers. I worked for Himalaya Psychic Answers. and I worked for Mystical Connections. Mystical Connections was the one I worked for, and we covered the States and Canada. Okay, so we ended up, I had clients all over States and Canada. Some of them I'm still in contact with, and honestly, if you happen to be a former client of mine, absolutely reach out and find me. All you do is go to the top of the chat room here, where it says buymeacoffee.com. Okay, that link will take you right to the site that actually tells you how to get a hold of me. It's not that difficult, and I will quite happily talk to people, in case you haven't figured that out on your own. That goes there. Pop you up there for a minute. That was a stack of them. You know, one of the neat things with the psychic line is I would work, like I ended up talking to people. I got the midnight shift, and I was the only one on the midnight shift that I could be on the phone for literally 2 to 3 hours out of an 8-hour shift. Okay, nobody else could call and could draw the calls in. And don't ask me how I did it. I was about as subtle as I can get. You know, this is a file I built on modifying astrology. That's the course I was looking at there. But no, when I was working for the psychic line, I literally turned around and I would get calls for everything. Yeah. Let's see here. Frankie is just saying, you know, do you think AI can help you with some of the technology issues you mentioned? AI for me has a problem. I do have my other half. She's 100% blind, but she understands technology rather well. And Storm, when I do have tech problems, I can get a hold of him most of the time. But would I trust AI? No. And the reason for it is AI is a great computer program. Don't get me wrong, but it's not AI. At least not in my opinion. And I'm not about to, you know, from my standpoint, I would rather deal with RI, also known as real intelligence. AI is great for certain things, but they've got it into so many things to come up with the wrong answers that it's not viable, in my opinion, or in my experience for that matter. AI, if they ever develop true AI, true artificial intelligence, mankind is hooked. Because the solution they will come up with has nothing to do with emotions. Okay? Computers don't work well on the emotional interaction. Human brains are faster, more accurate, and more versatile than any computer ever will be. And yeah, I realize there's a lot of people out there that will argue that point. But here's the neat thing. My eldest brother used to be, like, he was a computer programmer, but he had a staggering mind. And even he said computers were not useful, were not a replacement for man. Advertising, letters. Okay. That's all inner voice stuff. That's got to be it. Bingo. Now I've got that. That helps a lot. Oh, well, here's the problem. You know, Wu's going, I've read and heard that AI has been around longer than mankind. Absolutely. The Xenon are AI. And, well, sort of. They're not artificial, but they are robotic. Okay. And the reality of it is that when you start replacing human intuition with a computer, you lose something that doesn't get translated. Now, do understand something. AI is not the same thing as cloning. That's just the reality behind it. Wow. Went through a lot of that really quick. One of the things we have to realize when it comes to what I'm doing here, this is literally an issue of looking at all the notes I've got. I've got half an inch of paperwork over there on other races I've dealt with. I'm hoping, what is this? I'm hoping these ones that have poems in them actually have some poems I wrote. Oh, look at that. I've got a staggering number of these, of different projects I was working on that I actually put on hold. Okay. But I put them on hold because my life took an absolute spin for the worse. Okay. I let it do it. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm not blaming anybody else. I let my life go into a tailspin. And now what I'm doing is just correcting that and making absolutely certain that I do things to get back on track on the path I desire to be on. And you'll notice I said I desire, not somebody else told me I should. Because to me, where I desire to be going is a whole different ballgame as compared to where other people may think it's supposed to go. See, I came up with an idea decades back about building a learning center, a true healing center. I don't have the money to put the building together, but I can certainly start building the network for it, the nerve cluster that is built through the internet. Okay, now the neat part is by connecting with the right people, all kinds of things can be done. I'm not perfect. I'm not better than anybody. Certainly, I'm better at some things. Okay, but that doesn't make me more valuable or more important. And that's the thing that we've got to realize, is that when you're dealing with this world, and I can stumble across it, understand, I've already read the Christian Bible cover to cover. Okay, I am currently about a third of the way reading through the Mormon book, the Book of Mormon. And I've already got a copy. Of the Teachings of Buddha, which is next on my reading list. The more you read, the higher your intelligence goes and the better your memory works. And I will tell you, especially with the fact that, well, frankly, I'm somewhat getting on in age. Okay, by some people's definition. Understand, like I told my other half, I have every intention on living another, like right when I was a kid, I desired to actually have and to actually see the 22nd century in a functionally healthy body. Okay, well, to do that, I've got to live another 75 years, making me 137 years old by the time I die. This can be done. I know this. About 30 years ago, I stumbled across a guy that was he had come over in the slave ships. Okay, when they first came over way back, he was 149 years old. Now, if one person can do it, so can the other. So can another. And this is why I say, stealing an old line, okay, all that I do, thou shalt do and more. Meaning literally, if I can do it, so can you. But you do have to develop the right outlook. As in, you cannot look at anybody as being less important than you. Or look at anybody and say, oh, I've got more value than you. This is why I look at the people that are living on the street. I'll tell you, some of them can teach you a staggering amount. Okay, one of the things I did discover was that if you handle what you're doing right, as in effectively, you can get anywhere in life, no matter what you're starting with. Where are we? Oh, look at that. Well, like I said, I am bringing this to a close at 5. I started 4 at the latest, but as you saw today, I ended up starting earlier. At the same time, at the same point of that, though, I managed to go through all of these notes. Okay, I got a staggering number of projects here I'm working on. But I am so happy you guys did decide to join me today. Really appreciate it. Oh, where are we? Do I think Jenna? Oh, pardon me here, Frankie. It's my eyesight that's a little buggered. Pardon my French, but a genetic IE or AI, human intuition action learning database. Will they ever take it over? No. Will it become an active part? It'll be a great interface, and they are working on it. But yeah, Frankie, a human computer interface, they've already got them working. You see this with things like the pacemakers, where they read the human interaction. They don't have one for the brain yet, although they are working on them, i.e., the optic nerve. But Will, you are absolutely right. The problem with modern tech is it's suppressed spirituality, a very big problem. Now, because we're hitting 5 o'clock here, I'm going to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with me today. Really appreciate it. Love the questions that came in. Managed to get a lot accomplished here that's very important from my end. And I will be back again tomorrow. I'll be starting at 4 o'clock PST and working from there. So, absolutely, thank you so much. Have yourselves a pleasant time. And until we talk again, do take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good night.